So, good evening, everyone. I hope I'm perfectly audible and visible. If not, please let me know. And we'll start with the VARC session 31. So, we'll be continuing with what we did yesterday. So, we did a couple of paragraph completions and um, we did vocab part also. So, we'll be continuing with that. So, if you have noticed, I already shared the PDF with you. Yesterday in vocab session, what we actually discussed was kinds of personalities, people who are opinionated, people who might betray you or cheaters, people who are handsome or good looking, people who are Epicurean in nature or hedonistic. So today there is a different thing that we'll be doing in the vocab part, which will be about the phobias, things that we fear. So we have another interesting session coming up. Please let me know who all are there today. With that, I'll start. So good evening, everyone. I'm Siddhi Bangard. I did my MBA in HR from XLRI Alum, and these are all the exams that I appeared for and cleared in my maiden attempt. This is my Telegram group. You can follow me here. Actually, you can join it so that you stay updated about all my classes on YouTube or Unacademy, right? So both of them will be covered here. And this is my Unacademy profile link. You can follow me here so that you can get updates about my courses or my classes that are upcoming on the Unacademy platform. With that, as I just mentioned about the Unacademy platform, my live course is going on right now. It is all you want to know GK for your MBA exams. So we all know GK is an important component of XAT, test especially, IIFT, CMAT, IRMA, if you're targeting that. So all of these exams, GK is a very, very important part. So I decided let's have a very condensed course content in a single 10 to 15-hour course. So part one of that course is running right now, and it's covering topics like Indian history, art and culture, Indian economy, Indian geography, Indian polity, corporate GK, plus international organizations. So everything will be covered in a single course, and there is dedicated doubt and summary sessions spaced after every 3 sessions. We have already done Indian geography and corporate GK part. My next session will be about Indian polity. So I will be covering all the important parameters which are related to Indian polity, which are important for your MBA exams. With that, this is the course page. You can check it out on the Unacademy app or Unacademy website. Under my name, you can see this course and check out the course content, course schedule. The classes are spaced alternative days for 1.5 hours each. So there are 7 or 8 sessions. And the agenda for today is paragraph completion and vocabulary. So you can join us on Unacademy CAT4MBA channel or Telegram CAT4MBA channel. And most importantly, when you take a subscription of Unacademy, because to watch my plus course, you will need to have a subscription to Unacademy. So there are alternative live classes. You can talk to me, get your doubts clear. We have live tests and quizzes. So there is a quiz at the end of the 7 or 8 sessions. There's a mega quiz, and we also have live quizzes which I conduct in the class. Then courses are completely aligned with the MBA syllabus, the requirements of MBA. But most importantly, you can not only watch my courses, but you can watch all the other courses that have been done in the past or are upcoming within your subscription timelines. With that, please use my code SBUS to get a 10% off, right? For any Unacademy subscription. So SBUS for 12 months it's 15,750, and for 24 months is 18,900. With that, we'll begin today's session. So please let me know who all are there. कौन है आज की क्लास में? Hi Bhumika, I'm seeing you after a while. Hi Mishra. And there is somebody who's Bazi Rao. Okay, my evening has just become better now. So good evening, all three of you. Shall we start? So Bhumika and Bazi Rao, since you're new to the class, for question numbers 21 to 30, we'll do question number 21 to 25 first. Then we'll move on to vocab part. We'll do 6 questions of vocab. And then we'll do again 5 questions of paragraph completion. So since a couple of days, what we have been doing is we have been reading the passages and finding out which sentence should actually begin the passage or which should end it. So right now we are doing paragraph completion, choosing the option which should actually complete the paragraph, so the ending sentence. So I'll give you 3 minutes, right, to read the passage as well as the options 1 to 4 following it, right? So after 3 minutes, you're supposed to tell me which of these four options should actually act as the conclusion to the passage or should be the last sentence of the passage. Are we ready? Should we start? All right. So there we go. 1.5 minutes over. Uh, Good evening, Samsuddin. Good evening. So the question is going on right now. You have another 1.5 minutes. 1.5 minutes is over, Samsuddin. So another 1.5 minutes. Read the question and let me know the answer in the chat section. Which sentence should logically complete the passage? Is that okay? Bhumika already said option number 1. Mishra, do you have a different opinion on this one? Last one, 45 seconds. Anybody else with a different opinion for question number 21? Mishra says option number 2. Tiwari also says option number 2. Okay. Tiwari, we'll work on your paragraph completion skills. We really need to do that. Okay. So, talking about question number 21, time's up. There is a woman, arachnophobia. We'll be doing a lot of phobia today. So arachnophobia is your phobia related to arachnids in the animal kingdom, which means especially animals that crawl, so especially spiders. So this woman, she says, it's a very funny passage. She says, I really love my children, but I actually discovered that my fear of spiders or arachnids is more than or stronger than my protectiveness as a parent. So when I saw a wall on this, a spider on the wall, my first instinct was not to protect my child, but to just, shove him away and just run away from that place. So she's not feeling really good about it. And she says that whenever her husband is around, he makes sure that he catches the spiders in a very humane manner. And then he actually leaves them outside. But she is so afraid of them that she makes sure that they are released as far away from the house as possible. So if you consider that possibility, Now, Bhumika is right. Why it should be option number one? See, first of all, she mentions this entire thing. So the next thing, the next sentence should actually follow with so. She did something and then what followed, right? So she pushed her offspring in between the spider and herself, right? If her partner who usually used to deal with the spiders was not there, so she crawled towards the door because she was so scared, sealed the door with the duct tape so the thing couldn't crawl into the rest of the house that night. That means if she was sitting in one room, she just moved out of that room very slowly because she was very scared, and then duct taped the entire door so that the spider wouldn't come out of the door. That actually looks like a pretty good completion of the this entire passage, and not option number two. Why? The house had become a den to the most insolent things. Insolent means lazy actually, and needed to be scanned thoroughly. So insolent means, sorry, not insolent. Indolent means lazy. Insolent means nasty things. So there is, why would the house become a den to most things insolent? There has to be a reason, but there is no reason provided in the passage that the house was very old. They did not take proper care of the household. That is not given there. So option two is like quite out of context. Secondly, option number three, it just, there is no context attachment. Similarly to question number option number four, the spider and the fly should not be entertained under any pretext. Again, that doesn't go well with the conclusion part. In conclusion, you have to do something about the problem given in the passage. So option number one is the most suited one. And again, the conjunction here, so I crawl towards the door, actually kind of completes it if you read the sentence and the passage properly. Is that okay? Clear to everyone? Mishra and Tiwari? सोचना कैसे है, तुम्हें पैसेज को कंप्लीट करना है, लास्ट सेंटेंस वो होना चाहिए जो कि पैसेज से कनेक्ट होए. ठीक है? मिश्रा, भूमिका, तिवारी, क्लियर एवरीबॉडी? ठीक है. लेट्स कम टू क्वेश्चन नंबर 2. दिस इज अ वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग पैसेज, बहुत आसान है. So your time starts now. This one is pretty easy, so you should get this correct. Tiwari, are you able to follow what we are doing? बहुत important है ये follow करना. Good evening, Prasanna. One point 5 minutes over. All right, Tiwari. ये सारे के सारे passages काफी आसान हैं. Try eliminating the options and see. The best way to actually do these questions is to find a middle statement is difficult, but to find an end statement is easy. Just try to write that statement along with the passage and see if it fits the conclusion. If it is completely out of context, if the sentence has something which hasn't been talked about in the passage, then it definitely cannot be the final sentence. A final sentence is something which will look like a decent conclusion to the entire passage. Is that okay? Samsudeen says option number one. Samsudin, I have still 45 seconds to go. I want you to reconsider your answer. Or do one thing, put option number one at the end of the passage and see if it goes with the rest of the passage. Or have you understood the meaning of the last sentence of the passage? Check with that. Because the passages are very easy today. I don't want anybody to make mistakes. And very small also. Another 15 seconds to go. All right, time's up. Everybody says option number 3, Bhumika, Siddharth, and Vedehi. Guys, you want to reconsider your answers? All right, let's just check this out. They're talking about Mr. Christopher Columbus, who actually ended up discovering the West Indies, right? Instead of India, which he actually set out to find. So the passage is about him, and what they're saying is he was somebody who could identify a commercial opportunity. He was an entrepreneur. He was not a sailor by nature. He was an entrepreneur. However, there was an immense pressure on him that if you're becoming a sailor, if you're going out to explore the world, you have to find precious metals and you have to find people we can convert. So if you remember, if you have read about something about world history, and even now it happens, and if you read about Indian history, uh, and if you have read about religion, so I'll tell you something. Hinduism is not a way of life. For most other religions, they had messengers of God coming in, and whether it is Buddhism, whether it is Jainism, whether it is Islam, whether it is Christianity, everywhere you had messengers of God, and they had to find disciples for themselves, right? So when that happened, you had to find new people who you could actually make your followers and convert into your religion. So he was, when he set out for this job, he was very concerned that not only he has to find precious metals, but he has to protect and convert heathens. Who are heathens? That's where the vocabulary part comes in. So for the previous one, it was arachnophobia. So write down the meaning: fear of spiders, precisely. Heathens are people who actually have no religion, or they are not part of the major religions of the world. For example, if you are a part of a tribal religion, or if you follow some kind of very different spiritual religion, then you're not a follower of any of the main religions. So these people were easy targets for the Christian missionaries to actually convert. So then they are saying that when he landed on in 1492 on an island in the present day Bahamas, he saw the islanders there, and he actually wrote about them that you know just by using 50 men from his own place, all these islanders could be subjected and made to do all that one wished, which actually means they could all be made slaves. So that idea is actually given in the 4 sentences, that these people were somehow made the slaves. Now, why option one cannot be there, Samsudin? So listen to it. Soon it was seen that the concept of slavery was eroding with a great uprising conducted by the natives. If that was the case, Samsudin, then the last sentence would not be there. This person says it was actually very easy to subjugate them, like what happened with our country. We were a country of 33 million, even when the British were there. So it was a very small island country. The size of India is almost 33 times bigger than that of UK. So imagine the population difference also. Still these people were able to subjugate us. So similar thing happened there. So this sentence actually talks of a complete opposition to the idea of the passage. So it will definitely not be the answer. Okay? Second option, similarly, Ashu, can you please wait? We'll discuss your query after I explain this. All right? Okay. Option number 2, similarly, the attempt to subjugate Columbus backfired against the natives. See, the islanders weren't the one who were looking out for precious metals and people to convert. They had no idea why Columbus had come to them. So obviously, why would they want to subjugate Columbus? It was Columbus's idea that if we could subjugate these people, we can take whatever we want from them. So again, it's opposite of what is given in the passage. Third, a lot of people have suggested option number third, right? So soon the religious keepers of Columbus's faith were up at arms against the natives. Now, the thing is, here it's actually a long shot what they have tried to write. That might have happened that they converted people, but it's not given in the passage. There were concerns about converting them, but they haven't been. All what Columbus actually left in writing, as per the passage, is that these people could be subjugated. That means they could be used as slaves. So, slavery is the only thing we're talking about. We're not actually talking about changing people's religion here. So, again, out of context, not mentioned in the passage. That leaves us with option four. So soon the African trade was changing life in Spain. So if you have a little idea of history, Columbus was actually from the Spanish territory. Within another 100 years, most urban families owned one or more black servants. Here, the urban families that we are talking about are not the African families; they are the urban families of Spain. So, what they are trying to do as a conclusion to this passage, when these people identified that they could travel and find the new world, they used to go subjugate the people and bring them back as slaves. So, they started with the East Indian people, and finally, that actually the slave trade spread to Africa also. So, option four actually is the most reasonable that you can complete this passage with. Though seems a little out of context, but the other three definitely cannot run for the conclusion. Is it clear to everybody? Tiwari, Vaidehi, Mishra, Bhumika. So the better way to do this is through elimination. If something is going against the idea of the passage, then definitely it will not be there. Is that okay? Everybody clear? आगे चले फिर? Okay. Let's move on to question number 23. Okay? So I'll give you another 3 minutes to read it and solve it. And I hope that more people answer me, because the more people answer, the more is the competition and you realize your mistakes. So everybody who's watching, it's my sincere request. Please respond back. Please answer, because otherwise there's no point watching the video. Respond back so I can tell you where you made a mistake. And time starts now. Ashu, the only thing I can suggest you, if you're not getting a score, is practice and attend the classes that I take. That's all I can tell you. Attend the classes, let me know where your problems are. Let me know which part do you require in practice, where do you require help, and we'll try to figure it out in the class. All right? Do this passage by elimination. Ashu, plus pay I'm teaching GK course. VARC I take on YouTube. As of now, I'm not taking VARC on Plus. I'm taking VARC on YouTube. So don't worry, the quality of teaching never changes anywhere. I have been taking VARC. This is the 31st session, right? Samsuti, the best way to actually learn vocab is, whenever you come across a word, make it a point to write it down. Have a diary, maintain a diary. Okay. The other thing is we will be doing vocab. So you attend today's session. We'll after 25th question. We have 6 questions on vocab today. Watch my previous 2 sessions or the other sessions also. I've covered vocab in some part. So I think that should help you. Is that okay? And the best way is to write down. Whenever I say this is a new word, whenever you find a new word, write it down somewhere. Make a separate entry for it. So it's gonna take some time. It will build up eventually. But if you follow through this practice, even for 5 or 6 months, you will definitely see a whole range of improvement in the choice of words that you make. All right. Last 45 seconds. All right, time's up. I have only 3 answers as of now, Tiwari, Mishra, and Bhumika. What about the others? Anybody? With the game on the elimination part? Anybody else wants to answer? Or I'll take it up from here. All right. So Tiwari and Mishra and Bhumika, all 3 of you are correct. I guess. Okay. Vedehi, you too. Your answer is also option number 1. So all those who have answered option number 1, you're absolutely correct. Yes, Samsudin, you're correct. It's option number 1, and it can be directly done by elimination. So this was one of the easy questions. Why? He also denounced Republican frontrunner Donald Trump. Now we haven't even mentioned America in the entire passage, right? So Donald Trump wala to option वैसे ही out of context hai. Now he wanted to support in somebody's campaign for political asylum in the United States. We're not talking about United States. The options are just trying to bring out your biases between Russia and USA, right? Obviously out of context. Third, he also commented that I think I hadn't left the house, blah, blah, blah. This doesn't even make sense. What is he talking about? So the only option that remains to be used is option number 1. So since we said in August 2014, this person made headlines for wearing a Russian president's t-shirt or with the face of Russian president on his t-shirt. So he said he had purchased it because the proceeds were going to benefit an Ukrainian boy in need of an operation. So this seems like the most possible explanation why something happened the way it happened. Yes, it is. ठीक है, चलो. Let's move on. And this one also you can do by elimination. That's the hint. So I'll tell you something interesting here. Mishra, Samsudin, Bhumika, Vedehi, and Tiwari. Listen up. देखो, पैराग्राफ कंप्लीशन हो, पैराजम्बल्स हो, ठीक है? पैराग्राफ कंप्लीशन एनी काइंड, middle sentence, first sentence, last sentence, or if it is parajumbles, or if it is your reading comprehension, the first approach to try is to eliminate every option which is out of context. ठीक है? Now, for 2 types of questions, when it is the opening sentence or it is the closing sentence, okay, there are 2 approaches. For the opening sentence, there is one approach. You put the opening sentence there, okay, in the front and see if the second sentence can follow the first sentence or if the opening sentence is actually telling you the theme of the passage. Usually in a passage, the opening sentence sets up the theme of the entire passage. It's like an introduction. हम जैसे introduce कराते हैं ना, like the way I do. My name is Siddhi Bangard. I did this, this, this. So I'm actually, when I'm doing that, I'm not doing it unnecessarily. I'm doing that to set the context for the class. That the teacher who's teaching you, उसका नाम ये hai. She'll be the one who will be carrying you through the next 1.5 hours. And these are her credentials, so you can trust her and you can, interact with her in the class, and this is what she's going to provide you. Similarly, this is the job of an opening sentence. Coming to the closing part or the paragraph completion part, the thing is you have to identify whether it goes with the last sentence or the penultimate sentence of the passage, or is it kind of summarizing the entire passage, or does it look like something which should follow the last sentence or the situation given in the passage? That's the easiest way to do opening and closing sentences. For the middle sentences, the jury is still out. It's still debatable what's the best way to do. But elimination will work for more times than you can imagine. So with that, I'll give you your another 3 minutes to solve this one. Okay, I already have an answer. Chaudhary, do you know what are you supposed to do here? You're supposed to find a conclusive sentence. Are you aware of that? Prasanna says option number 3. All right, Chaudhary, then. No problems. 1.5 minutes over. Next 1.5 minutes. Why is everybody going with option 3? Any specific reason? Okay, I'll give you another hint. Have you guys seen Bagban? The movie Bagban? Hema Malini and Amitabh Bachchan. If any one of you has seen it, you can actually link it to this movie Make Way for Tomorrow. The ending is almost similar. And if that gives you an indication of how to solve this question, then you will definitely change your answer. That is what exactly happening to these people. Everybody has seen the Small G movie. You guys remember the word small z? We discussed it yesterday. It's a real tearjerker. Everybody changed their answer? Option number 2? Yes, it is option number 2. Time's up. So you guys remember we used the word small z yesterday to say something was specially. Yes, Samsudeen, I'll discuss this in detail. So what happens is, just listen to the passage, what the passage means. The passage means there was a movie, American movie, which was made in the Depression. Depression time was 1930s when there were no jobs. People were losing their jobs. There was no money, absolutely. So definitely, the story had to revolve around the same theme. So it shows about the author says it actually tells the story of my mother imagined for herself, something which happened might have happened to her mother also. So there was a couple who had actually lived a very good life, but when the depression came, they lost their home to a bank. They might have taken it on mortgage or something. So now they had children, but the problem is one of them they never heard about, and the others they were there, but they weren't very well off, so they really couldn't have two people inside their house. So they decided that they'll separate their parents and each one will live with a different child for the while. So something which happened in Bagba, the husband and wife were separated because they had lost a lot of things. So their children used to keep them separately. Hema Malini in one house with one child, and the Amitabh Bachchan in another one, and the entire movie is about that. And finally, Salman Khan comes to the rescue. That's what Prasanna will actually discuss. So just keep listening for a while. Now, the thing is, before you even reach to the conclusive state, whether it is conclusive or not, what did I ask you to do first thing, Prasanna? I asked you to eliminate the options. Did I not? That the first thing you do before you even apply your brains is try and eliminate options which are out of context. Remember that, Prasanna? So look at the first option. When I was still living in Urbana, I would often take my mother for a drive. What does this have to do with two people who lost their homes and had to be now separated? Now, look at the uh, differences in the tone of the passage, or the change in the circumstances of the couple. They were living happily together. Somebody, imagine you live with your dog for 5 or 10 years, and when your dog dies, you are, crying the hell out of you. So there is a couple, there are people who are living together for 50 years and now they have to separate. That must be so devastating for them. So option number one doesn't even make sense. You take your mother for a drive. What does it have to do with the passage? It's so tough. It might not be filmable today when even Alzheimer's story have happy endings. Why do you even have to talk about the endings? If you look at the last sentence, the first thing I told you, even before you look for a conclusion, is to look whether it will go with the last sentence or not. It is decided that the mother and father will stay with two different children for now. Now, if you have to choose between option number 2 and 3, which do you think is more apt as a follow-up sentence or as a close-up sentence? Okay? Yes, option 4 directly eliminated. So now coming between 2 and 3, which do you think looks like a more appropriate follow-up of the penultimate sentence that the mother and father will stay with two different children now? So that means that their last night in their home is the last time they will sleep together, because now, from now onwards, if they're living in different houses, they will be sleeping at different places. They wouldn't be sharing the same bed. So, is that more apt, or is it more apt that whatever happened then, it's actually very difficult to film, because now even Alzheimer's stories have happy endings. Why are we even talking about Alzheimer's? It's not even related, anywhere related. These people were not Alzheimer patients. Nobody was an Alzheimer patient here, right? Okay? So do that. I told you, put the sentences here and check if it can follow the penultimate sentence. If it cannot follow the penultimate sentence, it is definitely out. ठीक है? तिवाड़ी, थोड़ा clear हो रहा है? Tiwari will be my benchmark. She was having hell lot of difficulty solving these questions. Prasanna, is it clear? Why not 3? Why 2? Yes? Okay. Moving ahead, this one again extremely easy if you understand idioms and if you understand some of the words used here. Okay? So your time starts now, and then I'll take you to the vocab part of this passage itself. There are two things that we'll need to add to the vocab part from this passage. Your time starts now. 1.5 minutes over. Yes, Samsudi. This class happens daily, at least for the first 6 days. Monday to Saturday hoti hai. Unless otherwise, then in that case, I'll let you know beforehand. So otherwise, this class happens daily. It's a daily session. All right, last 45 seconds. Whether he already says option number 4. Okay. Mhm. Okay, I have a couple of more answers. Mishra, Bhumika, Anshuman saying option number 3. Samsudeen, the time is about to get up. So, all right, the time's up. Uh, Anybody else wants to answer apart from these 4 people? जितने लोग आंसर करोगे उतना अच्छा है. So, talking about that, yes, Tiwari, I'm not receiving your answers. Hiding behind your weaknesses is not a good thing, Tiwari. Very good. Option number 3, yes, it is correct. So finally, Tiwari got a hang of it. हो क्या रहा है जिंदगी के अंदर? So Mishra, Bhumika, Chaudhary, Tiwari, Prasanna, very good. Vedehi, I'll tell you why it is not option 4. ठीक है? So first of all, first things first. I hope I'm completely audible. My voice is not coming and going now. I'm audible, right? Let me know if I'm not audible. So slalom means, have you seen somebody skiing? Or do you remember, how many of you have seen that movie, Maine Pyar Kyun Kiya? And there is this last scene where Salman Khan wants to reach the airport. It happens actually in a lot of movies where the hero then actually tries to chase the heroine from leaving the country. And then he rushes to the airport, crisscrossing through Mumbai's traffic. So a similar thing happens there. Don't worry, it is very easy actually. I'll tell you how. So slalom actually means racing through a lot of obstacles and making your way through it. All right, Anshuman. Right? So that is what the word slalom means. So this guy, George Best, he was a footballer. So he used to race through all the defenses of the other team. Defenses means the people who were defending their goalpost in the football team. So he used to run past all of them, avoiding all of them, and then do the goals. That's why he was known as a demigod. Demigod means half god. मतलब देवता का जो स्टेटस हमारे यहाँ इंडिया में दिया जाता है उनको डेमीगॉड्स बोलते हैं ग्रीस के अंदर. Now, Achilles is again a Greek demigod. So his mother, Achilles' mother, this guy is a Greek warrior. His mother was always very scared for him that, nothing should happen to my child. So she used to try various things to make him an immortal. So finally, by some magic, by something, she was able to make him immortal. But his heels, your heels that you have, they still remained vulnerable. So if somebody could hit his heels, then this person would become immortal and he could die. So Achilles' heels is another idiom that comes from here. Now, why is it important? Why are we even discussing this? Because here in this passage, they talk about two things. First thing, that George Best was an extremely talented player. Another word for that is crack, which I discussed with you on day one when we started vocab sessions. That crack is a word used for athletes and sports people who are extremely competent and talented. So that way, George Best was very good, but he had his own Achilles heel. Now, if we are talking about Achilles heel, then there has to be something that has to be mentioned in the passage that there was a weakness about him. So definitely option number 1 is cut out of there. Option number two, George Best, blah, blah, blah. It could act as an introductory line, not as a closing line. So option number two cannot be your answer. Okay. Whether yes, I'm answering your question here only. No, we are not supposed to add. You are not supposed to do anything. The passage has already been written. What you're supposed to do is to find a perfect ending. That's why I said, since the word Ashil's heel is there, that means there must be something wrong about it. Otherwise, why would you use a passage like this? Okay? That is why instead of following it with option number 4, look at option number 3 yourself. No, 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 no. Prasanna, alcohol fueled means this person had a problem of drug abuse. He was a drunkard. So there are people, for example, have you seen that movie Ashiki 2? So Aditya Roy Kapoor is there. He is a very, very talented singer, but he gives it to drinking so much that he ends up losing his life. He's able to promote the love of his life, but he ends up losing his life because he actually cannot control his addiction. So he was addicted to alcohol. That's what it means. Alcohol fueled lifestyles. Yes. So the last line says, but saw the world football's Greek demigod Achilles. He challenged. So the reason why we are changing the tone here, whether he is, in the last sentence, we write about all the good things he was able to do as Achilles would, or as because he was a great warrior. So the comparison, it's a metaphorical comparison here. But what was his weakness? Like many of the football's tragic heroes, George Best had a dark side, and for every ounce of skill he emanated on the pitch, which is mentioned in the previous line, he seemed to consume an alcohol-fueled lifestyle. Yes, Anshuman. Alcohol-fueled means alcohol consumption. Okay, it's a very beautiful way of writing it, I should say. He wasn't fueling it with food. He wasn't fueling it with good things happening around him. He was a drunkard man when he was alone or in his personal life. Is that okay? Everybody clear? वैदेही ने मुझे इतने सारे messages किए हैं आज पहली बार. Good. So today's joke will be on you whenever we discuss our vocab part now. So guys, everybody who are new to the class and who are the oldies, I'll give you 1 minute. Get ready with your pen and paper. So yesterday, as I told you, we had the theme of defining the personalities, Epicurean personality, opinionated personality, people who betray other people who are extremely good looking, people who are ugly, etc., etc. Our today's theme is phobias. So we'll have some words on the phobias. All right. And I have some horrifying pictures for you today, not the glamour and glitz of yesterday. So shall we begin? Everybody, please get their pen and paper with them. Start noting the vocab parts. Okay? The reason, because I also share the PDF with you, but the reason I want you to write is if you write something, you'll never forget. That's the reason. Okay, let's begin then. So, question number 1, fear of ghosts. You will have 45 seconds. Okay? To find out this one. And to the new joinees, the vocab part is difficult purposefully so that I can teach you a lot of words in a single day. We approximately do 20 to 25 words each day. So don't worry. If you're not able to figure out the right answer, just answer anyway. All right? And your time starts now. Great, Tawadi. Bhumika, just keep answering. We'll discuss the answers after the 45 seconds have elapsed so that it gives everybody a chance to answer the questions. Where is Sayani, by the way? Why is she missing my classes? She's not supposed to miss the classes. So if anybody is a friend, please let her know that I don't like it. All right, time's up. I have 2 answers, 3 answers, 4 answers, and everybody has answered me correctly. Yes, it's phasmophobia, which is a fear of ghosts. Autophobia is a fear of self. You are fearful of yourself. Have you guys seen Karthik calling Karthik? He's an entirely different person with himself too, and he starts fearing himself so much so that he cuts his phone line or he changes his number. Remember that movie? So that's fear of oneself, what you might become when you're alone. Ergophobia is when we laze about our work. So somebody who fears work doesn't want to go to work. I guess everybody has an ounce of that. Phasmophobia is a fear of ghosts, and sciophobia is a fear of shadows. Unfortunately for your teacher, uh, she has the last three. BCD, I can find all of them in myself. So the correct answer is C. And this is your treat. It's still from Bhoot 1, the haunted ship. So this still was there when actually Vicky Kaushal he said that he did this kind of a movie, but he himself is very afraid of ghosts. But since this was a Dharma production movie, he decided to do it anyways. And no, it hasn't reduced his fear or his phasmophobia. Is that okay? So let's move on. Question number 2. Fear of lightning and thunder. The answer is phasmophobia. Siddharth, you answered correctly. All right, Mishra, तूने सही आंसर किया है. Phasmophobia. Okay, let's move on. Fear of lightning and thunder, and your time starts now. अच्छा सबका लिखना है. ठीक है, then I'll write it here. Fear of shadows, fear of work, and autophobia. Mishra, लिख लिया तूने? Everybody sorted on this one? Mishra, done? Okay, let's move on. Fear of lightning and thunder, and your time starts now. Okay. So anybody remembers that movie Raja Hindustani by any chance? Okay. Anybody remembers the movie Raja Hindustani? Raja Hindustani movie yaad hai? So there was this scene in that movie, the kissing scene, which is very famous. So before that, it's actually pretty often shown in our Bollywood movies that the heroine is quite afraid of lightning and thunder. So that's one of the tools used by the directors to actually throw her into the arms of the hero, and that becomes and ends up becoming a romantic scene. So the answer is brontophobia. It's a fear of lightning and thunder, also known as astrophobia. ठीक है? So yes, astrophobia or brontophobia. Right, Anshuman? Ecclesophobia. You could have guessed this by the use of the word eccles. So ecclesiastic, right? That actually stands for something to do with the church. Okay? Like pontification has to do with the pope. Ecclesiastic has to do with the church. So if there is any word which has a suffix which actually looks like this, then it has to do something with the church. So fear of church is ecclesophobia. People don't want to go to church. Hagiophobia is fear of saints. I have this phobia. If I see those sadhus or anywhere those saints, I don't know, I just feel fearful of them. So fear of saints. And herpaxophobia, all right, is the fear of being robbed. I don't know. The reason I was just laughing. I don't. If you have you ever seen the movie Hera Fairy? So they robbed somebody. They finally got the money. So there was this guy Babu Bhaiya, Paresh Rawal. So he was walking with the money held very close to his chest. So Akshay Kumar suggests him ki if you go like this, then everybody will know that you're carrying a lot of cash. So instead of that, just keep swinging the bag and walk very casually. And when he does that, he's actually robbed. So fear of being robbed is herpaxophobia. Hagiophobia. Hagiography is when you talk about saints, when you talk about religion. So fear of saints is hagiophobia. Ecclesiophobia is fear of church, and brontophobia or astrophobia is the fear of lightning and thunder. Yes, remember Kali Prasad. Yes, Mishra, you're right. ठीक है, तो वहां से है ये. And this is a still from the movie Raja Hindustani, where this thing actually happens that this woman, I don't know how Karishma Kapoor acted in this movie. She looks pretty stupid, but this is one of the most beautiful scenes when this movie came. So she got drenched in the rain, and then there was lightning and thunder, and then she ends up hugging. Yes, Chaudhary. So then she ends up hugging Amir Khan. So I couldn't show you the entire clip because somehow the YouTube clips don't run here properly. Otherwise, I would have shown you the entire scene. It was hilarious. If you watch it now, it is hilarious. Okay. Let's move to the third type of fear of women. All right. So the male students in my class will find it to be very funny, but then it is there with some people. So the time starts now. Bhumika already answered me. Okay. Everybody with the same answer? Anybody has a different opinion? Samsudeen, are you still here? Or I lost you even before the vocab session started? Okay, time's up. Yes, it's option C. Tawari is not getting your answers. What is wrong? Gyno. We all talk about the gynec problems. So anything which is related to gyne or gyno is actually related to women. That's why we say OB-GYN because that's problems related to women. So gynophobia. So you can judge by the root word. Gyno stands for women, something related to women. So gynophobia is fear of women. Zoophobia is fear of animals. Uh, Ichthyophobia. ICHTHY. Ichthyophobia is fear of fish. Okay, I don't know who has a. Okay, I have a fear of fish also. I'm discovering a lot of things today. Ombrophobia is a fear of rain. People who fear rain are called ombrophobic. Yes, Vaidehi. Acha, you answered first, kya, Tiwari? All right, Tiwari. I'm sorry. Ginning problem? Sorry. Gynec problem. Mishra? Not genic problem, but gynec problem. All right. So, do you guys remember this character? Anybody remembers this character? Has anybody seen the Big Bang Theory? This person, Rajesh Kutrapalli, he's a scientist. He has selective mutism. So, this is the first interaction between Penny and this guy who's a scientist, astrophysicist, but he has selective mutism. So, he actually can't talk to her. Yes, Tiwari, I can see your comments now. Remember, okay, there's a voice problem from my end. Are you able to hear me? Is it better? So this is an example of gynophobia. He finally, gynophobia ends for him when Lucy, his, I think, I don't know which one of the girlfriend, leaves him, and then he's finally able to speak to Penny without alcohol. Okay. Let's move to question number 4. आज का काफी आसान आसान है. Better? All right. So question number 4, fear of old age. ठीक है? Your time starts now. Okay, Bhumika already answered me. Actually, Tiwari really liked the concept of showing her pictures. So Tiwari, wait for this picture. When you will see this picture, you'll be in splits. I'll show you something really funny when we discuss this question. ठीक है? Anybody else with an answer? Vedehi? Okay. Yes, all three of you are correct. Sorry, all three are correct. It's gerophobia. So we have this thing called geriatrics. It's the study or the medicine of old people. ठीक है? Anything related to old people is called geriatrics. So option number B is the correct answer. Can anybody tell me potamophobia? I'll give you a hint to tell me the answer of. It's okay, Vedehi, but I still want you to answer every single time. Potamophobia. I'll give you the hint. Potamophobia, the answer lies in Mesopotamia. Okay. So potamophobia. Answer lies in Mesopotamia. And then you have other ones also, so I'll discuss that. Yes, Bhumika. So Mesopotamia means the area between the rivers. Potamia means rivers. So potamophobia actually means fear of rivers or running water. I have this also. Fear of rivers or running water. Okay. Then you have scopophobia, fear of being stared at. You know, you find anybody who stares at you or looks at you, you find it very, very creepy. Yes, fear of rivers, Bhumika. Fear of rivers or running water is potamophobia. Onirophobia. Can anybody tell me what is onirophobia? Onirophobia is the fear of dreams. You don't want to go to sleep because you will see dreams. So, fear of seeing dreams. You know, when I actually first looked up this word, that was hilarious. Very fear of seeing dreams is onirophobia. ठीक है? Chalo. Now you know better, Vedehi, that it's not potato. Mesopotamia, Potamia actually means rivers. So meso means region between two rivers. So potamophobia means fear of running water or rivers. Is that okay? Everybody clear? So the reason I showed you Anil Kapoor meme here is this person never ages. So since we were talking about fear of aging, I don't think he should have a fear of aging. There were really, really good memes about him, but I really liked it. Every time he comes on screen, he looks a tad younger. Okay. Let's come to question number 5. Okay. Fear of failure. Now, again, very, very common. So your time starts now. मिश्रा ऑप्शन नंबर डी तूने आंसर किया, एक बार फिर से सोच ले, वर्ड्स एक बार ढंग से पढ़. फोबियाज आर एक्चुअली वेरी इजी. Yes, Chaudhary, you're right. Chaudhary, Prasanna, Tiwari, all are right. It's atikiphobia. This is a fear of failure. So something like what you would see in a SpongeBob. Whenever you are going for any examination, I often get, children's or students text right before the examinations. Ma'am, I'm really, really fearful of the exam. What if I fail? What if something happens? So that's atikiphobia, which is fear of failure. Dikephobia is the fear of lawsuits, that you will get entangled in any lawsuit or somebody will file a case against you. All right. Calophobia is the fear of beauty or fear of beautiful people. And francophobia is fear of anything which is related to France. All right. That's why francophobia. ठीक है मिश्रा, clear? Yeah, chichore. That would have been nice actually. Chichore. Fear of beauty. Yes. Right. Okay. Let's move on. The last one, fear of dirt or contamination. So I'll have another nice photo for you here. And your time starts now. And this one photo will actually touch upon two phobias here. Bhumika and Prasanna, your answer are option number C. Is that so? All right, time's up. I have only two answers. And unfortunately, the answer is actually option number B. Mysophobia is a fear of dirt or contamination. People who are OCD, right? Who have OCD, obsessive compulsory disorder. So yes, Anshuman is right, and Mishra is also right. Mysophobia is fear of dirt or contamination. Neophobia is fear of anything which is new. Okay? So you are fearful of change actually. Haphephobia or haptophobia is a fear of being touched. My sibling. And even if you see younger children, toddlers, they really don't like to be hugged or touched a lot. So haphephobia, haptophobia, and stygiophobia is for real. You can make people do anything if you actually invoke this kind of fear, that you will go to hell. So fear of hell, for those who believe in hell, that's called stygiophobia. So it's actually a prime fodder to a lot of Netflix series that I'm watching these days. That people fear hell, and that's why the entire story is built out of that. नहीं यार, सी ऑलवेज नहीं है यार, आज बी है आंसर. सी वाला है fear of being touched. I'll actually hook up on that again, Mishra. ठीक है? So Tiwari, it's B. Answer is B. Fear of touch. And Mishra is correct when it comes to answer. So this is Sheldon Cooper for you. Both apply to him. Haptophobia or haptophobia and mysophobia. He has a huge fear of getting contaminated or dirt touching him, and simultaneously he is also fearful of being touched by anyone. So fear of touch and fear of dirt or contamination. Is that okay, everybody? So these were our 24 words today. We have covered most of the phobias. बाकी काफी ज़्यादा obvious थे, so I didn't touch them. But those who were not very obvious, we touched it. Is that okay, everybody? Any doubts? Any phobia that you want to ask about? Yes, Tiwari, he's the best example. Tiwari, do you remember that episode when he he something happened and he runs away to take a bath in Purell? Every time something happens to him, he goes around and pours Purell on himself. So this guy is the best example for that. All right. With that, we'll move on to another 5 questions on paragraph completion. Okay. Question number 26 to 30. So I'll start giving you 3 minutes. थोड़ा सा boring part पे चलते हैं फिर से. So the next 5 questions will take us around 20 minutes to finish, and then the class will be over for the day. All right. So all set, all prepared, everybody. I don't think आज ज़्यादा मजा आया है वो कैब में, but यार कुछ दिन थोड़ा boring भी होगा because I decided we'll pick up some themes so that we'll learn whatever there is to learn, and doing it theme wise would really help your cause. We'll start accumulating words slowly and gradually, so it will make it easy for you to read the passages and understand their meanings. Is that okay? Everybody with me? चले फिर? चलो. Folks, just give me a minute. I'll just grab some water and come back. In the meanwhile, you continue. All right, Tawari. Thanks for the feedback. So I'm back. 1.5 minutes over. Next 1.5 minutes. Last 45 seconds. All right. I have a couple of answers. Option number 1 mostly. Anybody else wants to answer in a different manner and format? Anybody has a different opinion? Or only Bhumika and Vaidehi want to answer? Chaudhary says option number 2. Okay. Anybody else? Okay. So, see, the passage talks to you about that imagination is very intrinsic to our inner lives. We are imagining things all the very time. Uh, okay. When you are in your teenage, you spend most of your time daydreaming about your crush. When you are appearing for placements, finally when you will be in the B school, all those 3 days you can think only about the best companies that will be coming to your campus and how good it will feel to get in one of them. After that, you'll be imagining about how good it would be to live that corporate life, travel around the world, blah blah blah. So every single time we are imagining something, we are rewriting history, we are rewriting what happened to us, etc., is what the passage talks about. So, but then, if you remember, yesterday we had a passage on Hayao Miyazaki. He's an animator, and he had written something on Spirited Always, something like that, an animated movie, and we discussed that passage yesterday. But this person uses a very complex canvas of animation. If you guys remember, Mishra and Tiwari, you were there, and Prasanna was there yesterday, right? So we are saying that these people like Pixar, Walt Disney, who are very famous for making animated movies, they are masterful at imagination. But what kind of imagination do they use? They only animate objects from our private lives. There is nothing very unusual there. Only the animals are talking, or the birds are talking, or maybe they are moving around in a different manner. That's what happens, but nothing which is very, very unusual. So, what the author is suggesting that if you could actually look inside the mind of a 5-year old and even an average 5-year old, what you would see there, the kind of imagination that runs there, uh, compared to that, even Star Wars and Harry Potter would look very sober. You wouldn't even find it imaginative at all, right? That's what he's saying. So, when we are talking about that, the people who have answered me, option number 3. Now, why is that we are not talking or thinking about imagination in our daily lives? So, if you have listened to me, you will understand. I told you the very first line, imagination is intrinsic to our inner lives. We are living it daily. You don't have to explicitly say about it. So, we are talking or thinking about imagination in our daily lives. We do that all the time. So, it's kind of contradictory to the first line of the passage itself. Okay? Option number 1, Dedehi and Bhumika. Why is our current generation losing interest in the application of creative fantasy? Now, the problem is uh, the word current generation. Where are we talking about the problems with the current generation? It might be that even our predecessors, it's a very generalized passage. People of all ages have actually not been looking at the real sources of imagination. That's what the passage intends to say. It's not talking about the current generation. That's why option number 1 is very, very specific. Cannot be the option. Third cannot be the option. You're left with 2 and 4. Again, option number 4. Why is there this mechanical approach to imagination, which is echoed in computational and modular theories of mind? See, the thing is, the passage is not saying that people are having mechanical imagination. The passage is trying to say that we have used reserves of imagination, and whatever we have been able to manifest is just a fraction of that. So we really need to think more about imagination, and that's why he suggests that you look into the mind of an average 5-year old. Even his imagination would be vivid, more lively than what we have actually seen up till now, what we think are the epitomes of imagination. So option number 2 actually brings out that kind of contrast very beautifully. That even after knowing that imagination is intrinsic to our lives and we can actually think about a lot of things, why are we only relying on the most superficial forms of imagination? Why are we not doing a detailed analysis of imagination by philosophers, psychologists, and scientists? Maybe if we can understand it better, maybe if we can delve in better, if we can delve in even in the mind of an average 5-year old, we will be able to get some better results. So, option number 2, as Chaudhary suggested, is the correct answer. Chaudhary, how did you reach to this conclusion? Can you share it with the class? Because I guess that will be helpful to everyone. So, please share your insight with the rest of the class, how you could eliminate the other 3 options and come up with this. So, now From now onwards, every time somebody does it correctly, they will be the ones who are telling the class how did they reach this conclusion, because I guess you need insights from your peers more than you need insights from me. So Anshuman, will you do the honors? And then we'll move on to question number 27. So you have question number 27. I'll start your timing, and I hope in the meanwhile Anshuman does respond to my request. So your time starts now. Okay, we finally have the insights from Mr. Chaudhary. All right. The first and the last line gave you some ideas. Imagination and then, okay. All right. B and C. And then he chose to go with B. Okay. Good enough. Last 45 seconds. Bhumika has the answer to me. All right. Anybody with a different answer than Bhumika? Whether he says option number 2. Anyone of you going with any other options, or should I proceed? Tiwari says option number 3. Okay. Mishra says 2. Well, Anshuman, do you want to answer this one? You had little time to actually answer me because you were writing that. Okay. So the correct answer is, let's see, why it cannot be option number 1 first. If you look at option number 1, we are talking about that the most important facts to remember are that his favorite color was purple, he adored Star Wars, blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. Then if we write, he was an ordinary kid born with severe combined immunodeficiency, blah, 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 then it actually cannot be a ending sentence. It has to be an opening sentence about his disease or about his extraordinary condition. Yes, Anshuman, go ahead, go ahead. Till the time I will actually rule out the options. So option number 1 cannot be the answer. Let's come to option number 2. He was of the suggestion that if a child who was of the suggestion. So, Mishra, you said option number 2. Did you read the grammar? Did David suggest that if a child with SCID could be preserved in a germ-free environment long enough for a matching bone marrow donor to be found, it might be possible to cure them? So, who was of a suggestion? David Vetter. Here in this passage, nobody suggesting anything. So, option number 2 to out of question hai hi. ठीक है? Let's come to option number 4. He was unable to make his own T cells. Now, from where are you bringing this in? There is no context to T cells here, and it is not explaining why he was put in a bubble. I mean, it's not a complete way of explanation. However, if you look at option number 3, he was an ordinary kid thrown into an extraordinary way of life because he had no immune system. So, now the thing is, if you actually read the last sentence, whatever they write about David, it actually suggests that he was a very ordinary kid, but in his taste, in the things that he wanted from life, but because of his extraordinary situation, he had to live in a bubble. So the difference between 3 and 4 is 4 doesn't mention that this was an ordinary kid. Why is it necessary to mention that? Because the penultimate line talks about that though he was living in a bubble, still his favorite things were like the normal children. So that's why it's important that we mention that he was an ordinary kid who was thrown into an extraordinary way. And then maybe you could write that because he did not have his own T cells or something like that, or because he had no immune system. So it's a very generic way to explain that so that you're not going against the spirit of the passage, which actually doesn't mention any form of disease per se. So option number 3. Is it, I think it's okay now, or is it still there? Hang on. I guess it's better now. No lag? Great. So, is it better? Everybody? Because Siddharth, even I can see a lag. Okay, better? Is it better? Let me know if it's better. Then we'll move on to the next question actually. We're only left with 3 more questions. It's still buffering? I don't know what's wrong with this. Okay. Now it's clear. Now it's good. So let's complete this soon enough. Question number 28. And your time starts now. All right. Am I audible and visible? Two people have answered me. Pradeep says A. Bhumika says option number C. Vedehi also says option number C. Anybody else? All right. So, okay, let's discuss this answer. See, if you read uh, the first option that we usually do is eliminate the options. So I'll start with eliminating. Indians, if you read this passage, the passage is about there was a bridge above the Elphinstone Road railway station that actually broke down. It also happened during my time when I was in Mumbai. It keeps happening in Mumbai. So that was because there was a delayed tender, and so the overhead walkway was not reconstructed on time. So that it was weak and it fell down and killed a lot of people. So, what are the two things that it is indicating in this passage? That the bureaucracy was behind the delay and thus this incident happened, and second, the tender system which actually causes these delays, and third, that people who are delaying the projects or who are giving you substandard rework or substandard work, they should all be held accountable. So three things are being suggested in the passage: changing of the tender system, bringing the bureaucracy to accountability, and also bringing to accountability those people who are involved in the construction. So these are the three things being suggested. Now, option number 4 is completely unrelated. Indians will laud those who make their living in working dignified. Absolutely out of question. Option number 3 we will discuss. Option number 1 क्यों नहीं हो सकता है is Pradeep, you answered option number A, right? Please put this sentence after the penultimate sentence. That is, those responsible for substandard work or untenable delay should be held accountable. Senior secretaries in the state need to be out. Now, these two things are talking about completely different things. First sentence is talking about accountability. The second sentence is talking about what to do, what the senior secretary should do. And the penultimate sentence is talking about the accountability of people who are responsible for construction. So these sentences are unrelated. That's why option number A cannot be your answer. Option number 2, as soon as the leadership can make these fundamental changes, Indians will begin to develop a sense of pride and feel empowered to reshape the country. I mean, seriously, do we really need only these changes to, develop a sense of pride? Do we already not have a sense of pride? That means this is the only way you will feel proud about your country, or you want to reshape your country. That's actually absurd. It's a very vague and very enlarged definition of what you have to do in this case. Option 3 is not only specific, but it actually relates to the last sentence. The last sentence says that the last three sentences actually say that there are some changes which need to be done. And of those changes, as I mentioned, bureaucracy needs to be put in its place. You need to abolish the tender system or need to bring in a better system to get these reconstruction work done. And you must also ensure that those people who are involved in construction, they should not they should not cause any delays, or they should not cause any faulty work to begin with. So to continue with last sentence, this actually goes with the options. This is the only way, the way suggested here, that you do away with the tender system, that you make people responsible for the work they do, that you cut out the bureaucracy and tell them that it's supposed to be there in the field, to change the complexion of India and to cut the arrogant babus to size. So it involves both the changes. To change the complexion of India by making these changes, and also to regulate the bureaucracy which is actually involved in this delay or in all these workings, because it's the executive which gets the work done. So just by using our elimination option itself, you can at least come to the conclusion between you can do a 50-50. So out of option number 2 and 3, 3 is the most possible concluding last line of the passage. So option number 3 is the correct answer. So Mishra, Bhumika and Vedehi, Three of you got this correct. All right. Chaudhary, did you understand why it is not 2? Prasanna Tiwari, did you understand why it is not option number 2? क्यों नहीं है? All right. For 29, question number 29. 29 is very, very easy. It's about Sarla Devi Tagore, a woman of Tagore household. And I would want you to try just this technique, elimination. And you will be able to solve it in 45 and actually less than 3 minutes, approximately 1.5 minutes. So your time starts now. I know, Prasanna. Even when I was reading the sentence in the beginning, I thought the same. But the problem is, it's okay, Mishra. It's okay. No problem. I'm glad you are still here. So I really salute your dedication. I know it's very difficult to manage two things. I am completely aligned with whatever you're going through. And Prasanna, yes, you're right. But the thing is, the other three options were way off. That you start feeling pride only in your country when these three changes are made. There are a lot of other things which need to be changed or which can make you feel proud about your country. So that's the reason why we had to eliminate option number 2, Prasanna. Tiwari, I want you to get this correct. Question number 29. 1.5 minutes over. Last 1.5 seconds. Last 45 minutes. 45 seconds. Okay, I have a couple of answers here. Option number 3. I have a lot of new students today. Vaishnavi says option number 3. प्रदीप ने फाइनली आंसर किया है ऑप्शन नंबर 1. ओके, all right, time's up. So let's discuss this. Everybody ready? Okay, let's talk about option number 1. Her autobiography, it's actually, the passage is about Sarla Devi, who was educated than most of her contemporary, means women of the same time, right? If she was there in the 70s, then the women of the 70s. So she was a woman who actually studied physics. I mean, if you can recall, Sudha Murthy was also one of those people who studied very difficult subjects in engineering, and she was a topper of her college. Okay. So a subject not generally chosen by women during that time. So that actually shows us she was very forward, and she did whatever she did was very iconoclastic. Iconoclastic means something which is very different than what most people do. It's a different part taken, and you have no qualms about taking that part. So, and she was from the Tagore household, which was very, very conservative. She also had a degree in English and expanded her linguistic accomplishments by studying Persian, French, and Sanskrit. So this woman was very, very well read. and she completed her Bachelor of Arts. So look at this. She studied physics and yet she was a Bachelor of Arts from the well-known Bethune College. It's a very famous part of history. I want you to Google it. And in Bengal acquired the reputation. She had the reputation of a progressive, educated woman who did not hesitate to speak her mind publicly. That means if she had to take up a step which would indicate that she's progressive and educated, and if she wanted to act upon her mind, she would do it. So her autobiography often talked derisively about the effeminate Bengali men. We are not talking about scandals here, or we are not degenerating, or talking down anybody here. So option number one, definitely out of question. Swami Vivekanand was so fond of her. Now, this looks like a good option, but why it cannot follow? It cannot follow because we have been talking about what a remarkable woman she was. She was a woman who was unafraid of her choices, and since she was very well educated, she made some good choices which suited her character, her demeanor. So, option number two is definitely out of context. Now, option number four, it is also generally suggested that because now we are not talking about scandalous things here first. Secondly, her reputation was that of a progressive, educated woman who did not hesitate to speak her mind publicly. Nothing wrong has been written about her here. So, definitely, we cannot say that because of her liberal lifestyle, her mother's family did not want any potential scandals. It's not written there. People accepted her. Option four, eliminated. Option three is the correct answer. Tiwari, did you understand? Why will she? Tiwari, tell me one thing. Why did you choose option number one? How, are we even talking about her autobiography anyways? Anywhere here? We're not talking about her autobiography. And if she is a very, I mean, imagine, Tiwari, you and me are a very, very highly educated woman of this age. Okay? You are here attending my classes. I have done a lot of things. Do we ever talk about effeminate men from our contemporaries? We know we don't talk about that. If there is a woman who's being accepted by the society, she would be, don't you think, if she's progressive, she would be acceptable if somebody is effeminate or not. She's actually crossed that boundaries of being masculine or feminine. Right, Tawari? So I'm saddened by the fact that you chose option number one. I would want you to read the passage and try to understand the passage in greater detail now, because we are actually nearing the end. I will only do 5 questions from paragraph completion tomorrow. We are almost ending it. We have already done almost 20 to 25 questions on this. Uh, Jaya ma'am is who? Prasanna? Are you talking about Jaya Bachchan? Is that so, Prasanna? And the others. Option number three is the correct answer. So Bhumika, Vaishnavi, Chaudhary, Prasanna, Mishra all answered it correctly. Vaidehi, it's not option number four. ये स्कैंडल तुम्हारे दिमाग में कहां से आया वैदेही? ये नहीं होना चाहिए. जिसने भी ऑप्शन वन और फोर चूज किया वो तो बिल्कुल नहीं होना चाहिए. तुम्हें टू और थ्री में कंफ्यूजन होता तो मैं समझ जाती. Okay, CM Jayalalitha, yes, but I don't think she was this highly educated. I don't think. She had a career in film industry. She spoke her mind, and yes, she actually, it's a very controversial subject. I wouldn't speak about it, but nonetheless, yes, she was definitely progressive. ठीक है? Okay. Last question, question number 30. It's a little difficult passage. ठीक है? So I give you 3 minutes. आराम से पढ़ो, answer करो. I would expect most of you are able to do it correctly. If you want more time to read it, take more time to read it, but this one should be correct. All right? With that expectation, we'll start. 1.5 minutes ended. Last 45 seconds. Chaudhary says option number 2. Mandhani says option number 4. Okay. Use elimination. What did I suggest you? The first thing that you're going to do is to use elimination. Eliminate the options which are completely disconnected. Chaudhary, this suggestion is for you. So read again while you have time. All right, time's up. So I have two answers here as of now. Chaudhary says option number 2. Bhumika says option number 4. Vedehi, Prasanna, Akansha, everybody says option number 2. Guys, you haven't heard about the place called Cuff Parade? Cuff Parade is actually in Mumbai, and not in New York. So because you read Cuff Parade, and that's why you felt that she was the only person in New York who was disconnected and free, then I'm sorry to say the place is in Mumbai and not in New York. First thing. Second thing, let's look at these options one by one. 2, 3, and 4. That's the majority of answers I've got, not even 3. 2 is not the answer. Even if it was New York and you didn't know the place, I felt as if I was the only person in New York who was disconnected and free. Free is a positive word. Disconnected is negative and positive depending on where you use it, right? Cuff Parade is actually in Mumbai. मुंबई का एक एरिया है सी फेसिंग एरिया दैट्स कफ परेड so google it today you'll find it ठीक है दैट्स इन सोबो साउथ बॉम्बे तो बहुत पॉश एरिया है कफ परेड वहां का having said that ओके प्रदीप ने अभी आंसर किया ऑप्शन नंबर 3 ठीक है so having said that if she was free, right, she wouldn't have been unhappy. Look at these sentences. She was unhappy in the new surroundings. She was surrounded by dead water, though it's a sea there, and she wanted to continue writing poetry. However, she wasn't doing much with her time except for practicing Indian classical music, and she drifted away from school friends. So she was disconnected, but she was not free. She was not happy. Free is a very positive word. So that's why this is wrong. And the second thing is Cuff Parade is in Bombay. It is not in New York. If New York was there, it would have been mentioned somewhere here. Option number 2, completely cut off. Okay? Let's see option number 4. I was enveloped in a haze of sadness as I speculated whether my mother, whom I'd never seen in a state of confusion, was confused and lost. Okay, let's see if this can be the answer. But let's first look at option number 1 and 3. Can we find something better? If 4 looks like an answer, then is there anything better? So if you actually look at, she's talking about um, the days in an year and how a year is a collection, or an year is a collection of all your emotions that you go through the entire year. It's not just a single day, right? So we end up celebrating New Year's Eve and we say, okay, we are celebrating the year. But she says it's not a single day that when you celebrate an year, it's basically a collection of all the memories, of all the emotions that you've gone through. And finally, she also says that once she reaches 17 or 18, right, she decides that they will no longer have New Year Eve. It was not special, so they will not be celebrating it. Okay. Now, having said that, the only place, the only option where you have some semblance of what is going on in the passage is New Year's Eve. At first, she used to think it was very special. Finally, when she came out of her adolescence, 17, 18, she concluded that she only had her parents and it wasn't that special. So she actually moved away from her friends also. It's a time when she didn't have an exactly midlife crisis, but she had a teenage crisis. So when the 70s ended, my parents and I decided to do nothing on New Year's Eve's a decision. They had allowed me to take on our behalf. This actually um, is actually relating to the first half of the passage, which talks about celebration of New Year's Eve, why it was earlier important to her, and finally how she understood the meaning of New Year's Eve, that it was not just one day, celebration of one day, and she was particularly not happy. So they finally decided not to celebrate it, which she usually used to do. So option number one is actually quite fitting. Then option number four, because nowhere in the passage we are talking about her unhappiness, right? Her parents have never been talked about, that her parents were unhappy or her parents were confused and lost. So option number four is actually thoda sa out of scope. Is that okay? Whereas option number one actually connects with what she has been talking in the entire passage about the year, about the New Year's Eve. Yes, Bhumika, it's option number one now. Right. And Prasanna also says option number one. I guess there is some buffering here. It means the sea. Prasanna, it means the sea. Cuff Parade is actually surrounded by sea. It's a sea-facing area of Bombay. So from above the dead water around us. So it's a term for the sea because the sea was very sea is brackish. It's all salty. So it actually kind of creates a very humidified environment in and around your buildings. All right, everybody. Understood? Everybody is clear why we discussed what we discussed? All right, great. Yeah, I don't know why there is so much of lag today. It's completely unexpected. But nonetheless, I'll end the session here. So, thank you, everyone. And see you guys tomorrow. All right, sharp at 6 p.m. So, all those who are new to my class, I have a class of VARC tomorrow at 6 p.m. Same on the YouTube channel. You can join my group. The group ID is CAT 2020 underscore Siddhi Bangard. Or you can ping me on Telegram. I'll add you to the group so that you stay updated about the classes. And also, I have a 4 p.m. session tomorrow. All right. That session is on my course, Indian Polity. So right now I'm doing a complete GK course for MBA 2020. Wherever or wherein you get GK, anywhere in the any exam, All the topics, subtopics of GK are being covered in this 10-hour course. I've already taught corporate GK and Indian geography to my students. This is the third lecture. We're talking about Indian polity. 4 more lectures are left. So the entire course is available as a plus course on the Unacademy platform. And if you really want to check how I have taught all the GK sessions there, almost 15 to 20 special classes are there available on the Unacademy platform. So you can go and check that out, that you know whatever I have taught to them. So usually all my GK classes were special classes previously. So all of them are free for you to go and watch. Anybody can watch those sessions and download the PDFs. And this is the Indian polity session that I'll be having tomorrow at 4 p.m. on the Unacademy app. So you can follow me both on Unacademy as well as YouTube, and so that you can keep updated about the classes. With that, thank you and see you guys tomorrow.